It's the Zone 96.3 where everything rocks on a Tuesday, and we are here in the studio with Matt and Kent from Like a Storm. Thank you guys so much for coming by.
Thanks for having us, dude.
Hey, what's going on, my brother?
Great to see you guys. Of course, tonight at the Pub Station Ballroom, big show going down. Like a Storm, Farewell to Fear, going to be actually in the studio here shortly with the afternoon guy. But I was lucky enough to get the headliners because that's, you know.
We go back, don't we? We go all the way back to the Babcock Theatre.
Here's the thing. How many years ago was that? Like 3 or 4 years
3
ago?
years, must have been.
Yeah, when we were here with Drowning Pool. We were just talking about that before, actually.
Yeah,
so.
You guys opened for Drowning Pool. You played at the Babcock. You'd come over from Missoula in a massive snowstorm.
Yes, it was quite insane. When you come from New Zealand, that kind of snow is like unbelievable.
And we can't get over, like when I opened the bus door today, I couldn't believe where I was and how it felt. Like the weather out there is amazing.
Matt's got his big winter pea coat on, expecting the worst.
Oh, dude.
And then you show up and it's 55 degrees.
Ken and I were talking about it before. You know, we've been out all summer touring, and then we had you have a headline tour scheduled for the winter, and you're like, oh man, we get to go out and play for longer and play all these new songs. Where are we going? North Dakota, Montana, Spokane, Washington, like places we love to play, but your first thought as a New Zealander is like, there's going to be a ton of snow.
Right.
So we've been amazed.
See, and I was talking with your tour manager just a little while ago, and he said this is his first time on. I said, were you here with him the last time? He said no. And to think that you guys get the same schedule through all those snowy states just 3 years later, you can't find a tour manager that can get you some Arizona dates?
Yeah. I know. We're like, go south, dude, go south. Well, after this, we actually head down towards Vegas, and we finish the tour in Vegas. So we are heading in the right direction. It's just that we've come up. You know, the problem with like Montana and Fargo and Spokane is that there's such awesome places to play that you want to come here even if it's going to be snowing.
Sure.
So it's like...
Dude,
it wouldn't be a tour if we bypassed all of these places because the fans here are amazing. Right. So we have to come up here, and it's not snowing, which is awesome, and then we'll finish in Vegas anyway.
Well, and it's 85 degrees inside the venue every night anyway, right?
I want to know, when it gets this warm, are people going to start rocking T-shirts and shorts? Or
I hope
what?
so.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is definitely T-shirt weather in Montana.
Exactly, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Summertime where you guys are from, right?
Yeah, we have the opposite seasons, so... I was just talking to like an American friend before about how crazy it is, you know, to have like a Christmas in the winter because in New Zealand, Christmas is in the summer, and you grow up with all these, you know, American films and like, you know, walking in a winter wonderland, and then you look out the window and it's like sun's beating down. You're like, I guess that's not for us. So it's kind of crazy to actually have a Christmas in the winter. Mm-hmm. Although that said, this is the first Christmas we've spent in Vegas. So that's actually kind of like going home for us.
Oh, yeah, I suppose that feels a little bit more like...
Right, because it's technically winter in Vegas, but there's certainly no snow and the sun's shining. So for us, that's as close to a Kiwi Christmas as we can get this year.
How long have you guys been out on the road on this stint? Because I mentioned that you guys rolled up in a little nicer vehicle than you did the last time around.
Oh, you didn't like the Dodge Grand Caravan with U-Haul trailer?
No, the Dodge Grand Caravan is a fine vehicle.
When we used to drive around with the Dodge Grand Caravan and the U-Haul trailer, a bigger U-Haul would go past, and we'd be like, there goes Metallica. There's Godsmack if the two go past. Yeah. Now we're in a bus.
You're in a tour bus, a legit tour bus.
Yeah. We're so lucky.
It makes a difference, man. And yeah, I mean, we've seen all of this great nation from the window of a van. Mm-hmm. We've done RV tours. Dude, we did a tour. I kid you not. We did a tour with Creed in a car, like an actual sedan. And how that happened is that we just put out like an acoustic DVD that we shot in New Zealand. No. We were lucky enough to drive ourselves. Okay. But we just put out an acoustic DVD, and we went and saw the Creed guys. They'd been really good to us, and they actually took us out on our first ever tour of the States.
Nice.
And so we went and visited them at the show, talked to them backstage, and they were like, "Man, we really wish you guys were on this tour with us." And we're like, "Oh yeah, us too. You know, that would be awesome." They're like, come back to the venue the next night. They were playing 2 nights in a row in Chicago. We went back again, and they printed out the dates for the tour. It was actually very classy. Slid them across the table and go like, do you guys want to come join us? Oh. But we're in a car. And we didn't have time to rent anything bigger because the tour started like the next day. So we were playing these massive venues with Creed, and we would pull up in the back of an arena, and there'd be two of us, a truck, and then like a car, and we'd get out of the car.
Chrysler.
A little Chrysler. So, for us to be on a tour bus now, I mean, we've certainly been through all the steps, including ones that would never occur to people.
Is this the first headlining gig in America or no?
It's the first in about 2.5 years.
Oh, okay.
So that's why
you guys did do one more before. Yeah.
We did one at the end of the last record, Awaken the Fire. They had Love the Way You Hate Me and Wish You Hell and all that. And after that, things really opened up for us. We went to Europe a bunch of times. And we went to Japan, as we were just telling you on the ride over. The record came out in Japan. And then this summer we did a tour with Godsmack and Shinedown, which was insane. But there were
you know what? I saw that, and Godsmack and Shinedown came here, and guess who didn't?
Dude, that wasn't from choice. People always say that.
I was so excited. I'm like, yes, here
like
they
as
come.
if we'd get offered a Godsmack Shinedown show and go, nah.
I know it wasn't your fault.
But there were a whole bunch of places that it had been 2.5 years since we played, or 3 in the case of here, and we didn't want it to be another 2.5 years, because after this we're going to Europe for 5 weeks with Godsmack. We're going to Japan to play Download Festival.
Festival, that is amazing. You guys got in on that. That's cool.
Yeah. That's our first ever Japanese show, so we can't wait. And we just love. We did a tour of Australia. Like, we just love getting to travel, getting to see different things.
Oh, that's got to be one of the best.
It's cool to come
parts,
up here and see it, because what you're known up here obviously for is like a lot of that ranch and the road. As the bus came in, we went past that rodeo.
You guys ride horses? Have you ever rode a horse?
I have. I wouldn't say I ride.
I think
it didn't throw me off.
Well, then you rode
that's
it?
actually that's one better than me. I was on a horse as a kid. I had a mate back home who had horses in New Zealand, and I reckon I was on that horse for half of a second. And it threw me off.
It's about the longest
pretty
I've
hard.
ridden one, too.
And I was like, you know what? I think I'm probably pretty good now. Me and horses, we tried it, didn't work.
Good enough?
I think they're amazing animals, but I don't know if I ever want to get on one again.
What about you?
No, I have about the same story as Matt. Yeah, I lasted maybe a little bit longer, but no, I'm not really. Even a Montana boy, I don't do the horses. But you guys are out with Palisades and Farewell to Fear.
Yeah.
Where'd you pick those guys up?
Well, we met the Palisades guys on. Have you heard of Shiprocked? It's a cruise ship festival. Yeah. And it goes out.
So you guys went on a cruise this year too?
We've done. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Can I join the band?
We were down in the Caribbean. Yeah, it was awesome. And anyway, our cabins were across the hall from theirs, so we got to know those dudes. And then went our separate ways. We did the Godsmack Shinedown tour. They did some Nothing More and Starset stuff, I think. And then we were talking to our agent about who to bring out. And we said, hey, why don't you hit those dudes up and see if they're free? Because they're an awesome live band, and I really love their music.
Well, it helps if you get along with the guys on the road too, right? If you're going to have to hang out every
band
night.
On this tour has been real nice. Yeah. And that's kind of we always appreciated when bands were cool to us when we were opening. So now that we're headlining, like we just try and set the tone for a good night. Treating one another well. Having a fun show. Like, we've got video walls now in our stage production, and we just try and just create an awesome experience for everyone who's in the room.
Who was the coolest band to you guys while you were coming up? Because I know you got to tour with some really serious.
Well, there's been a few. I mean, one of them would be Vinnie Paul, rest in peace. Yeah, he was very cool to us. Matt, you should talk about that, because Matt, you were in Vegas.
Yeah, Chris and I moved to Vegas to make Catacombs, our record.
Right.
And we had just toured with Hell Yeah right before that. So we knew Vinny a little bit, and during our time in Vegas, like, we got invited to what they called Sunday Fun Day, which was Vinny and Chelsea's like famous Sunday parties.
Oh, goodness.
And they would split their time between Vegas and Texas. So, anytime they were in town and we were in town, we would go to these epic parties. And we met so many friends through there. And Vinny really took us in, man. I mean, we're New Zealanders. You've been on the road for a long time. Then you moved to Vegas, which is like a new city for us. And they really took us in and made us part of the family. So Chris and I actually went to Vinny's memorial at the Golden Tiki in Vegas, which was Vinny's favorite bar.
Okay.
And they did like a memorial thing to him, and we saw a lot of the Hell Yeah guys and reconnected with a lot of his, of that circle of friends. So a lot of people have been so good to us, but I mean, Vinny really holds a special place in our heart, because he was like a legend.
Yeah.
and he also just set the tone for being one of like the best human beings we've ever met.
Yeah,
you know? So it's really crazy to meet someone like that and have them just be such an amazing person.
I remember meeting him and just thinking he felt like kind of like an uncle or something,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
it meant so much to us as a young band. It was so validating.
Yeah.
That a guy, I remember the first Hell Yeah show we did, and you could see the silhouette of a cowboy hat up in the balcony, bobbing in time to the music. And I was like, dude, I think that's Vinnie Paul. You know, 'cause he's the only one that could get away with wearing a cowboy
Sure,
hat.
who
You know
else
what
is
I mean?
wearing a cowboy hat?
Exactly. And then a couple of shows in, we walk past his dressing room, and he invites us in, and we would go to these parties at his house, and he'd be like singing our songs at the top of his lungs. And
Wow.
yeah, it's just, you know what I mean? It's just really cool that he would do that for younger bands.
Uh-huh.
You know?
And the Catacombs album, you guys, I heard you're in Paris for like a little while, right?
We were on tour with Tremonti, you know,
Yeah.
Mark Tremonti's.
Yeah, Mark Tremonti.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his project. And we had a day off, and everyone said, "Oh, you got to go to the Paris Catacombs." And so we did, and we were just blown away by what you go down about 5 stories, and then they have about 5 or 6 million corpses, and,
Right.
and they've arranged them in. They put the skulls in like shapes of stars and hearts, and they've made the walls out of the bones. And it's crazy when you first go down there because you're like, "Whoa, this is dead people. This is actual
Right.
dead people."
Right.
And then 5 minutes later, you're like, "Oh, that's cool. They made a star out of that one." You know, it's crazy how
Wears
quickly
off.
you get desensitized to it. But it was a catalyst for the concept behind the new album, because it really struck us as a metaphor that, you know, 5 floors up, it's everyday life in Paris.
Right.
In fact,
Hustle and
we were
bustle
up there
and-
just sitting, you know, out on a patio on the side of the road, drinking a beer. You know, it's just normal life. And then 5 stories down is all this disease and decay, and they didn't know what to do with it back in the day, so they buried it.
Right.
And we thought, isn't that so true of life? That's what we're all taught to do in this life, is just internalize the negativity and the problems. Nobody wants to know about it. Just present a brave face and go on like nothing's wrong. So we thought, with this album, let's explore what's going on inside.
I like it.
Yeah, man.
It's a happy. No, I'm just.
It's the feel-good hit of it's the
feel-good
Christmas.
hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Good Christmas time. Like a Storm, of course, tonight at the pub station. And Kent and Chris, man, it's really good to see you guys again. It's
We love you, brother.
We had a
appreciate
really
you
good
having
time
us,
the
and
last
we
time
can't
we were
wait
here.
for tonight. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Tickets still available. I guess we've got a pair right now, caller number 9 at 655-9696. And stop and see us next time you guys are around, man.
You know it, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate.